Hi, I'm Ruban Selvanayagam from Property Solvers Auctions. In this video, I want to talk about something that can often determine whether an auction sale achieves a strong result or struggles to gain traction: the auction legal pack. For sellers, it's absolutely crucial because it directly affects the final price. A well-prepared, transparent legal pack builds confidence, reduces uncertainty, and encourages stronger bidding. Buyers bid more aggressively when they understand exactly what they're buying and what the risks they're taking on are. Indeed, from their perspective, there's a real need to be cautious. Once the hammer falls in a traditional or unconditional auction, they're legally bound. So let's start with the basics. An auction legal pack is a bundle of legal documents prepared before the auction that aims to outline everything a buyer needs to know about a property before they bid. This is important because buyers are legally committed at the fall of the hammer and therefore want to know as much as possible before placing a bid. The legal pack is effectively the only window into the legal reality of the property before exchange. It's not just a formality. It's essential for buyers' due diligence, or in other words, the checks and investigations that are carried out before committing to a purchase. And it's worth emphasising something here: in an auction environment, buyers price risk immediately. They don't wait and see and are not in a position to negotiate later. If something in a pack looks unclear, incomplete, or potentially costly to resolve, they will simply reduce their maximum bid to reflect that uncertainty, or simply look away. So the legal pack doesn't just inform, it directly shapes the ceiling price buyers are willing to go to. At its core, the pack usually begins with the official copy of the title register from HM Land Registry. This confirms who owns the property, whether there are mortgages or charges secured against it, and what rights, covenants or restrictions affect the land. Alongside this sits the title plan, which shows the physical extent and boundaries of what's being sold. Buyers need to ensure the land being marketed actually matches what's being legally registered. Boundary discrepancies, rights of way or restrictive covenants can materially affect value, especially for development sites or property with parking, access lanes or shared drives. Another critical component is the special conditions of sale. This is where the seller sets out specific terms of the transaction. It confirms the completion date, states who's responsible for certain costs, and often includes provisions requiring the buyer to reimburse fees, pay arrears, and settle outstanding management charges. Many inexperienced buyers focus only on the guide price and overlook these additional obligations, but seasoned professionals go through the special conditions with a fine-tooth comb. They want to know the true cost of acquisition, warts and all. Alongside these are the general conditions of sale, and these are typically based on standard conditions of sale or common auction conditions, CACs, produced by RICS, which provide the wider contractual framework for governing deposits, completion, notices to complete, and remedies in the event of default. Searches can often be included in the legal pack, and they may consist of drainage, water, environmental, boundary, mining, and flood risk reports. Buyers will check how recent they are, what they reveal, and whether they meet potential lender requirements. That said, many serious auction buyers expect searches not to appear, particularly the local search, which can take months to process in some parts of the country. And so many take out no search indemnity policies instead. Now, this type of policy doesn't provide the information a search would reveal, but instead it offers financial protection against losses arising from matters that would have been disclosed by a search, such as unknown enforcement notices or local authority issues. They're usually relatively inexpensive and fairly quick to arrange, which suits the speed of auction transactions. From a seller's perspective, including searches in the pack, even if slightly dated, can still help. It does reduce uncertainty and somewhat builds confidence. On this note, there are also other types of indemnity policies that auction buyers can take out to cover issues such as missing building regulation certificates, lack of planning documentation, absent landlord notices, as well as for restricted covenant breaches or missing easement evidence, which, as I mentioned before, can get flagged up when examining the title. Provided there are no active dispute or enforcement actions, as with missing searches, insurers will often provide relatively low-cost cover that protects against future financial loss. Moving on, for tenanted properties, the buyer will look out for a copy of the tenancy agreement, even if it's periodic, evidence of rent being paid, and confirmation that the deposit was properly protected, as well as all the other processes being followed. Buyers will want clarity on rent levels, mainly via redacted bank statements, any arrears, notice status, and compliance with current legislation. With the regulatory landscape tightening, compliance failures can carry financial and procedural consequences, and those risks are reflected in bids. For leasehold properties, which often get sold at auction, the lease itself is or should be included, and this can be one of the most commercially sensitive documents in the entire pack. Buyers will examine the remaining term, ground rent provisions, service charge obligations, repairing responsibilities, and any unusual clauses. A short lease, doubling ground rent, or high service charge can significantly affect value and mortgageability. In some cases, mortgage lenders down the line will decline outright if the lease falls below certain thresholds, and that directly narrows the buyer pool to cash purchases only. That reduction in finance availability almost always feeds through into the price. For development opportunities and land, buyers would often want to see planning permissions, application history or evidence of pre-applications, building regulation approvals, restricted covenants affecting development potential, or Section 106 agreements. These documents can transform value, either positively or negatively, depending on what they reveal. And then you've got probate sales, which typically include a grant of probate to confirm authority to sell, and repossessions or corporate disposals in similar vein include documentation evidencing the seller's legal power to transfer title. I've covered the bare essentials here, but if you'd like a deeper look at what a comprehensive legal pack looks like, I've written a full article on our website. I'll link it in the description below. So to draw this video to a close, every auction legal pack tells a story. It reveals not just ownership and obligations, but risk exposure, compliance position, and potential friction points. Some buyers instruct a solicitor to review the legal pack before bidding at their own expense, particularly on higher value or more complex properties. Increasingly though, buyers are also using AI tools to help them analyse documents, flag potential risks, and identify clauses that warrant closer inspection before taking formal legal advice. They then may raise pre-auction inquiries to clarify specific issues. Far from weakening a sale, that process actually strengthens it, because clarity removes uncertainty, and uncertainty is what suppresses bidding confidence. And that's why the legal pack matters so much to sellers. If a pack is incomplete, rushed or vague, buyers sense uncertainty and bidding softens. If documents are missing or questions remain unanswered, investors either reduce their bids to compensate for perceived risk, or withdraw entirely. By contrast, when a pack is clear, comprehensive and professionally assembled, buyers feel reassured. Transparency builds confidence, confidence builds competition, competition drives stronger hammer prices. Preparing the legal pack early rather than leaving it until the final marketing window is one of the most powerful price maximisation levers available in auction sales. It signals professionalism, attracts serious bidders, and prevents last-minute hesitation. In auction, momentum is everything, and momentum depends on certainty. So the key takeaway is this: the auction legal pack isn't just admin, it's the legal foundation of the entire transaction. For sellers, it's a strategic tool to build trust and maximise competitive tension. For buyers, it's the framework that defines risk, value, and viability before they commit. If you're actively considering selling at auction, we also offer a comprehensive auction valuation report tailored to your property and postcode. It draws on HM land registry data, localised comparable evidence, buyer demand trends, and additional market insights that aren't readily available in the public domain. The aim is to position your property correctly from day one, combining pricing strategy with legal readiness to maximise competition. If you'd like to request one or simply want guidance on structuring your legal pack properly, please feel free to email us at auctions@propertysolvers.co.uk. We'd be delighted to help you plan a secure, transparent, and more structured auction sale. A big thanks for watching, and I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe. Thank you.